Hey, welcome back. Behind me is the 86 IROC I've been working on. 2 videos ago, I did a will it run. It ran. I drove it all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac and back. So I went ahead and did the logical thing and signed it up for Power Tour. I mentioned last week we had 9 more weeks to go before I had to be ready to go to Power Tour. And after this weekend, it'll be 8. So we got to weld in some floor patches, weld up some holes. We're going to pour 15 everything, seam seal everything, undercoat it from the bottom where we patch it in. Go ahead and clean all the dash ductwork out and get all that kind of taken care of. Put in a light switch, a headlight switch, and get ready to put all this stuff back together. So stick with me through this. Next week maybe we'll even be able to drive this thing again by next video. That's what I'm hoping for. This coming Wednesday, I have the windshield coming in. I have tons and tons and tons of parts here. I have parts coming. The budget is getting low, real low. By the way, thanks to all the new subscribers. Every week I just keep picking up, 2 or 3 or 4 here or whatever. I really appreciate it. If y'all want to share this with your friends, I'd appreciate that too. Anyways, let's get to work. So in the last video you saw I pour 15 the passenger side floor. It turned out extremely well. This is the typical pour 15 I use. It's the high gloss version. I think it works really well. But the driver's side has a few issues. The passenger side really didn't have that many. This side does. Yep. It's got some speed holes. So I made a piece of floor. This is actually a piece of metal. I bought some floor pans for a different car. This was some scrap left over from doing them. Actually, they're not done yet either. But anyways, this fits in here really well. I should be able to cut this out and weld this one in. And then there's a little spot here. And then there's a little spot right up there by the footwell. And one right there. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of rust. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you saw that. But anyways, we're going to patch in metal and all this. And then we'll pour 15 this side too. And we'll be able to move forward from there. This stuff just takes forever. In case you're curious, all I used to make any of that was just some very cheap body hammers that I've had forever. I bought these back before Harbor Freight was a thing. Back when they used to just have a tool cell that come around to the army facilities or whatever. And just some dollies, just steel dollies. Ain't nothing wrong with them. They work just fine. I'd like to show y'all how I'm going to do this, but this is my cell phone and I don't want to get it close enough to be able to actually show this. And I can't figure out a way to shoot it. So I'm going to put a tack right here and a tack right here. Then I'm going to make a cut along this upper line. And then I'm going to make a cut along the left side, just following my template. I'm going to push it down and tack that back corner. Then I'm going to cut this side and push it further down and tack it back and then cut the back. And that bottom piece will just fall out. There's a guy, another channel, it's Fitz's Garage. I'm sure I'm butchering his name. He does a great job of this. It's where I actually saw anybody ever do this before. He calls it a cut and butt. It's a great idea. I'm going to link him in the description. And if you want to know how to do this, he's the guy, man. He is amazing. Anyways, I'm going to get back to this. Sorry about all the noise. The air compressor's running outside. And I'm sure it sounds funny. I have a welding hood on. But anyways, I'm going to get after it. I'll show you what it looks like once I get it kind of going. Okay, so I made a relief cut here at the top. And I just followed this down or here. And I can actually take this and I'll be able to push it to where it's level. And then tack those in and just keep working my way around until this piece fits in there almost perfect. Go check that guy out. Like I said, Fitz's Garage or Fitz's Fabrication. I don't know. I'll link him in the bio. All right, see, I've got a tack up there and a couple there. Don't be an idiot. Make sure you grind all this stuff before you start. I almost forgot. So now I'm gonna make a cut down this way, all the way over, and then we're gonna push this down and put a tack here, and maybe one here. And then the final cut will be back here, and then that bottom piece will just pop out. All right, so I got all that back there going. I accidentally turned the welder on high instead of low and blew a couple of spots out. It's fine, I'll be fine. Now I'm gonna cut this, and that bottom panel just drop out, and I can weld this in. I was almost done. So very close. Actually, I thought it was done. I hit it with a grinder and I found a little spot, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna cut that out. It's a little soft. I'm gonna replace it. I did, and I started welding it back in. Ran out of wire. Had to run all the way to town, Harbor Freight, to pick up a pound of wire to do, you know, like 2.5 inches worth of welding. Yeah, I hate having to stop and go do stuff. Anyways, back to it. Just in case you're curious, this is what I cut out. It'd have been way harder to patch a bunch of little bitty things, and that'd have never been good. So putting one big patch in is always the way to go if you can. And that's what falls out after you cut the metal. Okay, so my old safety glasses broke. The earpieces both broke off. So, and they're super scratched. I decided, well, whatever, get a new pair. I've had these laying around for a year, 2 years, I don't even know. Went to open them. Oh yeah, it comes modeled by a porn star from the 70s. I went ahead and coated the floor, got all that done. It looks good. I wanted to do that before I put the seam sealer down. That way everything underneath the seam sealer was protected. I'm gonna go ahead and seam seal everything that needs seam sealed. And we'll be ready. I think we'll be ready to start putting the dash back together. I sure hope so. I know these cars don't really weigh that much, but it's got a brake hanging. Whew, just tough to move for one guy. But anyways, I got it back outside. It needs to flash overnight, and all that stuff needs to dry on the floor. I did actually seam seal the bottom of the patches I put in the floor and undercoated that. And I would have done all this outside, but I didn't want to have to work out here in the sun on the asphalt. So I did it inside. I'm the only person here today. So then I kicked it outside to dry. So anyways, we'll see how it does. We'll get back after it tomorrow. So I pulled out the headlight switch. We were having all those problems with the headlights, and the taillights didn't work and blah, blah, blah. I think I might have found the problem. See all that rust? There's definitely water in here. It just does not look good. I have another one. That's why I was pulling this one out, but I'm going to test this one and just double check and see if it's any good or not. Hopefully y'all can see this. And I'm going to go with it is bad. I couldn't figure out how to show y'all all this at once, so apologize. But don't be an idiot like me and over tighten and break that plastic clip. Now I'm going to have to find something to go in there. So it rained last night. I'd pushed this car outside last night so it could dry and not smell up my house. So just in case you're curious how well the floor's sealed up, it's very well. There's probably, I don't know, a gallon of water or more in the floorboards. Well, I got to get this cleaned up so it can dry out so we can move forward. Good grief. There was 0 rain in the forecast. So I was going to clean out my wet dry vac so I could use it for a wet vac, get all the water out. Look at all the mouse house in there. Lots and lots of it. Anyways, let me get this cleaned out and I'll get this vacuumed out and move on. Next thing you do is go in the house, get yourself a nice towel. Don't get the rattiest one, like I did. Make sure you get a nice one and dry all this out. Yeah. Much better. Well, there you have it. It's all dried up again. I'm going to let this sit for a little while and evaporate. I actually have to run to the junkyard because I broke that light switch retainer. So anyways, this will have a good chance to finish drying out. But we know it'll keep water out because it'll keep water in. So it's God's way of rinsing it off for me, I guess. Oh, by the way, the cowl area up here drained just beautifully, just like it was supposed to. Yesterday I broke the retainer on the headlight switch. It's plastic. I went and pulled one this morning, pulled a metal one out of a earlier model Firebird, no, Camaro. But anyways, then I pulled all this out of a Firebird. I got $30 in all of it. 2 door panel tops that aren't broken. Both of mine were broken. A seat bottom, we don't need anything but the frame out of it. My seat frame was rusted. A dome light, we just needed parts of that too. Courtesy light covers, you never see these things in good condition at a junkyard. That's the OBD1 port cover. Just some bolts and screws and whatever I found laying around. So we get in there, I'm gonna try to put the headlight switch back together and clean the rest of that up. I gotta put this car back inside. It is hot, hot, hot outside. And it's nice and cool in the basement, so we'll get it in there and get back to work. All right, try to put it together again. If you're ever wondering how this goes together, there's a notch in here, and there's a corresponding tab on the switch. You just push it through, and it'll line right up. I'm sure they make a special tool for this, or even a larger screwdriver would work. This is what I had handy. So there we go. Let me get a screwdriver for that nut handle. Also, if you're taking any of these 82 to 92 Camaros or Firebirds apart, there's a lot of dummy screws in them that are plastic. You definitely don't want to put a screwdriver on them. You will destroy them. Then they look funny. Then the headlight switch just pops right back in. And then boom. Moves in and out just like it's supposed to. Hopefully that'll fix all our problems with the headlights, but I doubt it. I'm going to go through and just wipe all this down. I'm going to go through and just wipe all this down with some glass cleaner, clean it up, so we can move on. Oh, I'll show you all this too. In my very first video, I found another Bell's Bondsman item. Eva's Bell Bonds. Everyone who was driving this car definitely thought they might be going to jail and needed to get out. So that was inside the dash. I thought that was cool. Wanted to share it with y'all. Dash has more cracks than, I don't know, anything. It's in really poor shape. Sometime I'll have to replace it. I'm also going to go ahead and clean all the ductwork parts, same way. So I just took it outside, filled this up with Purple Power on both ends, covered it, shook it, and then run hot water. And I say hot because it came out of the black water hose. I'm not sure who decided black water hoses were good, but I'll tell you what, they are hot, hot, hot. So I run water through both of them until they were clean. I feel good about it. Definitely the cleanest any of this has been since it was new. So I'll put it back together and we'll go on from there. This will be a really good time to actually clean the actual AC vents too. I'm just going to take them out for now, put them back in later. Alright, so this temp gauge didn't work when I took my test drive. It was hooked up. I'm sure it was just locked up or whatever. We ain't going to use it anyways. Get that out of there. Alright, so I want to run new speaker wire. I'm just going to put it in and zip tie it all up for now. There's just no point in using what wire was there. It's really short. They've cut it on the ends. So we're just going to run this in and just be done with it. I like to write on here. This is going to be front right. So F front, and then R. That's going to be hard to see on this black, but that's what I got. You can also tone them out with a battery once you hook up the speaker. Wow, that was a productive 3 days. We really did get a lot done. Ended up with the carpool. I'm naming this video the carpool. That's just what it is. I never imagined that it was going to rain. No sign of anything in the forecast. It was 0% chance of rain. It didn't rain anywhere around us, just here. Oh well, whatever. We just cleaned it up and moved on. I really did get a lot done this week. Got the floors finished up. That's a big step. All that welding and grinding and all that. That takes a lot of time. It's just tedious. It doesn't look like you've done anything really when you're done. Oh yeah, it looks great, but it's, it's just really not there. And then got all the dash ready to go back in. So today's Monday. I got the windshield being put in this coming Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. I have got to have this car running before then, because where it's sitting right now, you can't put a windshield in it. You can't get to both sides of the car equally. There's just no room. So tomorrow I'm going to throw a dash in, put a steering column in this thing, hook up enough electronics to get me outside. So thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribing doesn't cost a thing. You'll know when I'm dropping stuff if you press the bell button. So anyways, thanks again. I appreciate it. Catch you next week.